Good afternoon and welcome to our Homebuyer Seminar, where we do this every Wednesday at 4 or 5, or if I'm late, after 4 and not yet 5. I'm Bill
4:15.
Gross, 4:15-ish, 4-ish. I'm Bill Gross at Bill Gross Probate and Social Media. Today with my friend and vendor and lender of choice.
Gustavo Segura. Hello, everybody.
And we're missing today Patricia Castillo, the eye candy of the group. She's unfortunately under the weather, so keeping your prayers for recovery. I don't think it's serious. I think just a little whatever's going around, and we'll see her again soon. She's also gotten a little big for her britches. No, just kidding. So I hope she gets some rest, and we'll take it from here. So Gustavo, what's happening in the real estate market these days? What do you see going on?
The last 2 days probably people saw a little bit of a shock. The rate kind of moved a little bit upward. It was a little bit unexpected. It was a small jump. But of course, it's enough to keep everybody on their toes, right? And the reason for that is just, as more data comes out about retail sales for December, of course, December is a big holiday month. So a lot of people spending a lot of money. So it came over the estimates. It came in about almost 3 times of what the estimates were. So of course, that means, what is the economy still very strong? People are spending money, but the thing is that, are they spending money on credit cards, right? We see that number to be one of the highest that we have. So we had some record number as far as the amount of spent money on credit cards. So I think it makes sense as to why that number came up very high. But because of that, there were some comments by the Fed that led to believe that the economy may be a little bit stronger than anticipated. And of course, the market did not like that. When the economy is strong, they're not going to cut back rates, right? They're going to kind of maybe even push up rates. So that's where the market got a little bit worried by those kinds of comments.
Isn't it interesting that the economy does well, meaning people have sales, have jobs, business is good, and that causes interest rates to go higher? That's bad news. Right. It just tells you really where these politicians are on this and how our economy is set up, that the only way ahead is if more people struggle and suffer. And that's when the wealthy people make their money. And so we should all be kind of aware of that. And on the flip side, if you're doing well in your business and you're making money and you have money put away, there's the opportunity to take advantage of it. One of my coaches is Grant Cardone, and he said he thinks this is upcoming the greatest opportunity for building wealth ever in his career. And I would agree. If you watch your expenses, you have some extra money, you have some extra cash, there's going to be a lot of adjustments going on. And if you take advantage of those adjustments, it'll work out for you. So let's talk a little bit about interest rates. That right now, they're still below 7%.
They are
lower than they've been for the majority of the last 6 months. Really, you had to go back to June or July where consistently they were lower. So what's the move? When you talk to people and they get a quote for the rates, what's the reaction when you give them the numbers these days?
Yeah, well, the first thing is that they're glad that it's under 7. Mm-hmm. They're glad they're under 7, putting some more people in the market. But then I tell them, I go, don't worry. Every day the rate changes, right? Right. Hour by hour, minute by minute. I said, you don't have to live by watching at your computer what the rates are doing. It's going to fluctuate. Unless we have something big happening, it's not going to be that much of a difference in your overall payment. Right. So what I tell them is, let's get you qualified. Let's get the rate. They'll know where we're at. I will keep them up to date as far as any big industry moving data. Mm-hmm. And that's where we move into, are we locking? Are we floating? So I do a lot of that heavy lifting for them. Mm-hmm. And that's where I give them a good assessment of what to do during the market. So right now, a little bit of a jump, but in the overall scheme of things, we're going to have, I think, some more positive data coming out on the 26th of January and then into early February. And as we know right now, people are taking a little bit of time too to find a home. So don't get so caught up in the short term about rates moving up, because you may not find that perfect home until a month from now. Right. So, let's not worry too much about it, but definitely, stay communication active. That way, you know where you're at. So there's no surprises.
So here's a question I thought during the week I was looking forward to asking you. On average, and I know there's some that are done right away. They have the paperwork all together. Some people are simple financially and some people are more complicated. But if you took all your clients who are buying a property and come to you and say, I want to get pre-approved so I can make an offer, and have you tell them I've been pre-approved and you don't need to evaluate my income or down payment or credit. That's all been done. On average, how long does it take somebody to go from that phone call initially to where you have everything you need to pre-approve them, all their income, all their down payment, all their credit, reviewed, underwritten, and otherwise ready to go?
Well, so I'll break it up into two parts. The first part is being able to get them pre-qualified, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the pre-qualification is checking out the documents, and we can do that the same day. If
Right.
you've got the documents ready to go, you got your income, you got your W-2s, you got a bank statement to show your down payment. I will take a look at the credit, and I'll be able to do that assessment same day. Okay. Now, and that means also with a automatic underwriting approval. So that means going to Fannie and Freddie Mac using their systems where we submit and we get back a good overview of this is a good clean loan, or we're going to have some hiccups here. So that gives me a little bit more detailed information. It's not by somebody, physically underwriting the loan, but it's getting us 70% of the way there, right?
Mm-hmm.
That document, that underwriting approval, that desktop underwriting approval is very important because it opens up the road to see, are we going to have any issues or not? You get that eligible approved, you pretty much, like I said, 70, 80% of the way there as far as underwriting. Now we just need to go ahead and actually have a submit to an actual physical underwriter that they will go ahead and confirm everything from there. So to answer the question, get you pre-approved, I can do that same day. And that comes with that automatic underwriting approval. Now from there, I go ahead and you find a property this weekend. Say you get a property on Sunday and we get the contract. I go ahead and I submit that on Monday. From Monday, it takes me about 48 hours to get an actual underwriter approval back to me where the physical, human being is looking at the underwriting of it, and they validate that original first approval. And then they say, you know what? And on top of that, I would like to add some additional conditions. There's always something that they would like to verify, clarify, or just ask for a little bit more information. So it takes about 48 hours after I submit it.
So now that's how fast you can do it. What's the average though?
That is my average, 48 hours,
Okay.
So, and
Okay.
if we're talking about, because on the lending side, the wholesalers that we're working with, they are very good at this, and they are and I am very good at putting an application together, meaning I need to collect everything, because I know that if I submit half of it, they're going to come back and they're going to 2 days later, it'll be fast. But they're going to say, I need all these other conditions. So I'm going to have a condition list of 20 things.
Right.
So what I do is I cut that down by collecting upfront and then being able to submit. Now, every loan is different. There might be some where they got a credit score of 580. That's going to maybe trigger some, additional overviews, right? I got somebody that had a bankruptcy, about 2 years ago, right? So we had to go FHA. Well, that may require some additional documentation. So every file is different, but if we're talking about an average, after I submit it, we're talking 48 hours, 72 hours at the most, to go from there. Now, that's a lot. That's a big difference between retail or a bigger company. So a bigger company can sometimes stay like that, but they have a different process that may take them a little bit longer to do it. Yes, it's internal and it's in-house, and maybe they're sitting next to them in the next office building next to them, but they're going through a lot of different other steps as well.
Right. And I think I wasn't really as much, in my mind, the biggest hangup isn't you, it's really the customer, right? Because I've been in a position where I had a client ready to go. They said, and they found out, oh, well, actually I haven't filed yet last year's returns. Oh, you're an extension. Well, I didn't really file an extension. Well, you got to file an extension, in order to qualify for a home loan and prove that you did that at least, maybe, or file those returns, or, maybe they sold a piece of property. They don't yet have the proof is not yet deposited. You need to get those bank statements to show the money or the closing statement. And that takes a couple of days to get that together. Or there's a credit item that's not really theirs. Maybe it's paid through the business or paid by a family member. You got to get the 12 months council checks to get it removed. And that takes a week or two. And so my experience is the customer often will take several weeks. They find the property of their dreams. They want to write the offer. And you say, well, I can, but this isn't going to be strong because we missed getting ready ahead of time. That's why I told you, ahead of time to
Yeah.
do this. And so to me, that's the challenge for customers, is get that done ahead of time so that you're not missing out because of that.
Exactly. And all those scenarios that you mentioned are exactly spot on, because you're talking about somebody that is self-employed, or they got a sale happening, or they got money coming in from a write-off, or they got, all those little things that you mentioned. Those are scenarios where the underwriter is going to want additional information and confirm. And
Right.
I can't pull that information on my side. Someone that's like a straight W-2, check stubs, all that, I may not even need the check stubs and everything, because I can go directly and pull that electronically from like ADP. There's a system that allows me to go ahead and pull and do a verification of employment and income. So I can get a lot of that information rather quickly.
Right.
But it's those loan scenarios where they're self-employed, they got their own business, they've
Right.
got taxes that are not being done, so that's where it does take a little bit more. And the sooner they can get that into us, we can get that set up. And then now their pre-approval is ready to go, along with those taxes, along with those documentation.
And if they don't, as a real estate agent, I'm stuck. Like you can want to move more quickly,
Yeah.
but it's just not going to happen.
Right.
And I think that's the challenge that I try to get customers to avoid being in that position, is to get everything done ahead of time if you can, because that will give you the best opportunity to get your offer accepted. Can we make an offer without a pre-approval and a pre-qual? Yeah. Is that a strong no? And it's still a competitive market for buyers. And so if you're looking to buy, let's start with that. Let's get you on track, get together with Gustavo, or if you have a lender you're working with, let's get a pre-approval and get that to me or Patricia, so we can make you an offer that's going to stick and get you the property rather than be something you miss out on.
Yeah, exactly. Because they may have, they may show that they have plenty of funds. They have $300,000 in the bank, but they still need another $300,000 from the lender. So, when you're making the offer, the listing agent may say, you know what, I don't know if they can get the other 300,000. Yes, they have 300,000 that they can submit, but it's not a full offer here. There's missing pieces here that are questionable that we still don't know.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Good. Yeah. Well, okay. And so Patricia's not here today. What do you want to say to Patricia or about Patricia, since she can't answer us?
Yeah, right. No. I think, I think we saw the activity picking up because of the lower rate. Just because we have these little changes, don't get discouraged. Don't think that it's going back up, that you're missed out. Always stay in communication. See, so with me, I let people know, hey, you know what, the rates changed a little bit. Don't worry about it. You may see this in the news. You may have heard this, but don't worry. There's going to be a lot of different things that are happening here over the next 3-4 days, 5 days, a week, where you might be seeing a lot of changes. So the big thing is just to know where you're at. And then don't look at it's kind of like, what do they say? Don't look at water boil, or don't stare at water to boil, or something like that. Where, let that be. Don't worry about the rate. Focus on your job. I mean, on the home search. And then, we'll take a look at where the rates are at, because when somebody finds a property and they come to me with a contract, we still do a little final assessment of, do we want to lock in the rate now? Do we want to lock it in for 30 days, 25 days? Or do we see some reports that are going to come out in the next couple of days where we may benefit from that? We may benefit and the rate may drop. So then we keep it floating until it's the right time. So don't worry so much about that. Focus on the home search once you get pre-approval, and then we can continue on.
Well, and I think also the idea that when rates go up, it's not all just bad for the buyer, because oftentimes the seller realizes, and I've been the listing agent on these conversations, I've said, listen, this is, you can play hard with the buyer on negotiating if you want. But the problem is going to be that if this buyer walks, we have to resell the property, and who's going to be the buyer the next time around. And with the higher rates, you might find that you don't get the buyer the same price. When the market was red hot 2 years ago, it was almost like we were daring buyers to back out, because if they did, we were able to replace and actually make money in many cases.
Right.
But that's not the case when rates are going up. And so I think from a buyer's perspective, you got to find the house. And then before you commit, you're going to decide if you're really going to buy it or not. And that will be with full knowledge of what the real rate is at that point. And that's why let's get approved. Let's get you in discussion. And then sit down with Gustavo and say, what am I really looking at? What's it really going to cost me? And you can do that before you waive your contingencies. You can always come back and ask for a concession, particularly if the negotiation period tracks out and that's what raises the rates, or the seller took too long to clear contingencies. All those are factors that can work to a buyer's benefit to offset the rise in interest rates. So don't assume just because the rates go up, that's bad for the buyer. I've had plenty of cases where the buyer said, I don't want to pay anymore. And as a result, we were able to negotiate a better deal for them.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay, so I think that's pretty much all I have today. Rates are good, activities good, holidays are behind us, Martin Luther King Day is behind us. Super Bowl's coming up in a couple of weeks, but between now and then, these will be some busy Sunday open houses. So give Gustavo a call, give Patricia a call. Reach out to me if I can help you as well. Any last words, Gustavo?
No, just keep an eye on the goal. Make sure that if this is the year for you, talk to someone to give you that roadmap. Definitely want to know what the steps are.
Keep your eye on the prize.
Exactly.
Right? What's the goal? Why are we doing this? And make sure you're on top of that. Well, great. Well, look, we'll say hi to Patricia. Hope you feel better next time. Right. We miss you. It was not nearly as fun without you. Gustavo is not as much fun as you are. But we like to have Gustavo. Thank you for being here today. And thank you for everybody who watches. I see we got people on Facebook. And let's see, we've got Facebook. And we have a LinkedIn and a YouTube. Very nice. So if you guys have any questions, comments, put in the comment section and we will get back to you. Either way, make it a great week. Thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you. Have a good week.